Good morning. Russ had to walk away because I forgot to plug in our Wi-Fi directly, so he'll be back in just 1 second. He's going to bump the computer and move it.
Apparently.
But anyway, how was your workout?
Workout was good.
There we go. Got it plugged in. Awesome. What did you do in the gym?
Today was, I know this. Oh, I did 10-minute cardio blitz. I only did 10 minutes. Back, biceps, and that's it.
Yeah? I did back and bis today too. I asked him if he wanted to do my workout with me and he said no.
I did not. I said, what are you doing?
And I said back and bis. That wasn't enough information. So we did our own little workouts and that was fine.
Right.
I was surprised. I thought that I was going to have trouble with my workout today because my shoulder. I woke up with my shoulder being a little bit tight, but Russ rubbed it for me and I think it made it better.
I put on my superhero cape.
Hey Valerie, you're babysitting again today, but it's good to see you live anyway.
Yes, it is. You know,
thanks for the thumbs up, Chuck. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I had a good workout, so that was fun. It's fasting day, so all I have to show you is some bubbly water.
And some hot water.
And Russ is drinking hot water, so it's not very exciting on the food front.
Not very
I can definitely tell you that listening to videos about being plant-based and why you should be and all the things in the food they talk about on a fasting day is tough.
It is tough.
For some reason, today I am I'm hungrier than I usually am on a fasting day in the morning.
Yeah, I said last night there before we went to bed, I said, I already want to eat. I mean, it's not even tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. So it might be a tough day today.
So just to go show you that it's not always simple. It's not always
as easy as we'd like it to be.
Right. Sometimes you have challenges.
And you know what? If we get to the point where if I feel like earlier this afternoon that I'm not functioning well, I'll eat. Right. Like this isn't something that I am staunchly. I have to do it.
Yes. And that's the whole beauty about our system is that it's not a system that says you have to all the time, 100% of the time, or you fail. There is no fail.
I have to share with them what happened yesterday.
Okay.
So yesterday, I had a meeting up near Costco, and so I stopped in. We needed some spinach and avocados and stuff. So I stopped into Costco, and they always have samples, and they had Lindor chocolate samples. And I used to love their caramel, the little caramel. I don't know, whatever they're called.
A little circular
thing. Yeah, I used to love them. And so I thought, if she has a caramel, I'm going to have one. Remember I told you yesterday that you can decide, one isn't going to hurt you, but make sure you enjoy it. So I went up to her and I said, do you have a caramel one? And she said, yeah. So she dug around in her little basket and she handed me a gold wrapped little piece of chocolate. And I put it in my bag because I didn't want to eat it in the store while I was doing other things. I wanted to be able to just enjoy it. I wanted to enjoy the pleasure.
It was a treat.
It was really a treat. So I got out to the car, I got all settled, and I opened it up. And if you ever had one, they're runny on the inside. You can't bite them. You have to just put them in your mouth. And they're actually really too big for me. But I put it in, and I was sucking the chocolate off of it because the chocolate isn't what I wanted. I wanted the caramel that was inside, and the chocolate melted away, and it wasn't caramel.
So sad.
It was a chocolate fudge thing, and it was so disappointing. I mean, I was still disappointed when I got home because not only had I basically decided I'm going to, step out of our plant-based and I'm going to have this chocolate because I really wanted the caramel, it did end up not being, so wasted calories.
Yeah.
I just so disappointed. And what I can tell you is I'll probably never eat another one again. It was so upsetting. What's Chuck have to say this morning?
So Chuck, you're at 12 hours, and 12 hours is the minimum that you'd want to do for fasting. I think ultimately you want to try to get to at least 18. We do 24. There is a 36. We don't recommend
that one. But yeah.
But we do between 20 and 24. But if you can get to at least 18, so if you can maybe not eat so late at night, you can gain a couple hours on that end, and then maybe wait till lunchtime on the day that you're going to fast. We do it twice a week, and then you'd be right there at 16 to 18 hours.
Yeah, 16 to 18 hours is great if you can get there, definitely. Right. Let's see, it looks like I have another comment I need to scroll. Hey, Allison!
Good morning, Allison.
It's nice to see you this morning. So that was my very disappointing Lindor chocolate story, but I guess I'll never have another one because they don't, the wrappers don't say what's in them. You have to know the color, and obviously...
I wonder if it says on the package itself.
It might. I don't care. I will probably never have another one.
That's it.
So I was super, super disappointed.
Yeah, she came home disappointed.
I can't even tell you how disappointed I was about it. But I did it all right as far as enjoying the pleasure and if you're going to do it. I did all of that correctly. It just unfortunately did not have the outcome I had hoped. But that's not our topic of discussion today.
Let's talk about beans.
I want to talk about beans today, and I know they're not sexy, and I know that that's
they are. I hate to argue with you, but they are sexy.
They're so good for you. Even if you're not moving toward plant-based, you absolutely should be eating beans. So we wanted to give you some of the reasons why you should, and then I'll share some of the ways that we get beans into our diet every single day.
Okay.
So do you want to start with some of the reasons why? You want to start? You know, you've been doing some research
yeah.
too.
So there's a lot of reasons. There are high in fiber, so they keep you full and satiated, and they also help you help your biome, I guess, and your digestive tract.
Mm-hmm.
They're high in protein, so they're a great source of protein. You want to help me out here?
No, you're doing good.
Well, I'm trying to remember all of them now. I'm not doing so well.
They're talking. They're just having discussion about the chocolate.
Okay.
And my failure.
Okay.
And Valerie's saying, "Yay, beans!" Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So yes, like Russ said, great source of fiber, great source of protein. When people say, "Well, where am I going to get my protein if I'm plant-based?" Beans and legumes and peas and all those yummy things. That's absolutely where you're going to get a lot of your protein, and they are exactly the right balance of protein that your body needs. Like Russ said, they are loaded with fiber, which is great because fiber does a couple of different things. One, it makes you feel full. That's important. Two, it keeps you feeling full longer because it takes longer for your body to digest it and move it out of your stomach. Meat will move out of your stomach faster than beans will.
I just remembered another one.
Okay, go ahead.
They're a prebiotic, actually.
They're a prebiotic, and what that means is that they are the food that the microbes in your gut need to eat. So that's an awesome benefit for them too. What's Valerie saying? Everyone loves no tuna salad. Everyone. I love my recipe. It's so yummy.
Yeah.
So yummy. And that has beans in it. It has white beans.
Yes.
The interesting thing about beans is the darker they are, the better they are for you. Now, that is not to say that white beans, also called navy beans, aren't good for you. They are. They're fabulous. But darker beans are better. So your black beans are going to have tons of nutrients and antioxidants and all kinds of good stuff.
We're gonna make black bean dip, and when I say we, I absolutely mean.
Because I said to him today, I said, I wonder if we could make hummus with black beans, and he was kind of like, I don't know, and I said, but he said black bean dip, and I said, well, black bean dip is usually with Mexican spices, and he was like, you should make black bean dip. So apparently I'm going to be doing that. But yeah, the fiber is really good for you. The other interesting thing about the fiber is while it slows the emptying of your stomach, it moves stuff through your GI tract better. So while meat will leave your stomach sooner and leave you feeling hungrier, meat gets stuck in your GI tract and rots there. Whereas beans, because of the fiber, are going to keep moving through, which is super important. Hey, Allison, what are you saying? Do beans have to be eaten with rice or they don't have to be. So that's an interesting question about complete protein.
Right. So now you're talking about complete protein, and
you want to explain what complete protein is?
So complete protein, in a nutshell, is it means it has all the essential amino acids. Your body can make all, but I think it's
9.
Is it 9? Essential amino acids, and those 9 you have to get from food. Most protein sources from plants do not have all the amino acids.
They don't have all 9.
Right. So you usually want to combine them with something. But the interesting thing is, you don't need a complete protein in a meal. So you don't have to sit down and eat lunch, and that lunch has to have a complete protein in it. Your body will take the aminos as they get them, and then as your next meal, it'll take some proteins from that, aminos from that, and make the perfect protein. So you don't have to necessarily get a perfect protein every time you eat. However, when you do mix beans with certain things like rice or with wheat, corn, you do get a complete protein. And that's why usually you see beans with some kind of rice dish or some kind of quinoa dish or something like that, because then it winds up being a complete protein.
And that's the interesting thing. If you think about beans as they have been eaten over the centuries, and beans are a part of every single culture over the centuries, they're always mixed with complementary foods because they taste good with them. I don't know about you, but beans and corn for me, those are really, really good.
And if you think about it, at the time when a lot of these cultures were mixing other foods with it, they didn't have the science to figure out amino acids.
They just did it.
They just did it.
Made them feel good, so they did it. The other thing about beans is they are very, very low glycemic index food. And what that means is they don't spike your blood sugar. You get the food into your system, you get the nutrients into your system, but it doesn't cause that spike in blood sugar, which is a great thing for diabetics. The other thing that's interesting about it is it blunts the glycemic index of food the next day. And how that works is that when your beans get out of your stomach and into your intestines and your bacteria in there and all your little guys in there, your microbes, are eating the prebiotics and using that stuff to create probiotics, they release stuff into your system that continues to blunt the blood sugar response from the foods you eat the next day. So if you eat beans for dinner, when you eat breakfast the next day, you're going to have a lower glycemic index spike because of the beans you ate the day before, which is, I think, phenomenal. Obviously, you want to always cook your beans. We've told you, and we'll talk a little bit about it. We've talked about it before, but there is one doctor out there who likes to scare people about beans because of the lectins in them.
Right. Who also sells the cure-all supplements.
The supplements to save you from the lectins.
Save you, right.
Okay, so lectins are a type of protein. There's only 1 or 2 lectins that are actually dangerous. They're only dangerous raw. So do not eat raw kidney beans. It's not a good idea. It'll make you feel sick, and they're not good for you. If you cook kidney beans at least 10 minutes, it kills that lectin. You don't have that problem. And if you have ever cooked a kidney bean, you know as well as I do that you have to cook them way longer than 10 minutes.
And that's, of course, assuming that you've soaked the beans first.
What's assuming?
Then if you only cook them for 10 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, I just saw that.
It doesn't matter. Right. You're not going to cook kidney beans for only 10 minutes.
No, it takes an hour to cook them to where they're actually edible.
All canned beans are already cooked far enough. You don't have to worry about them. They aren't an issue. So, yeah, just always cook them. And beans, also science has shown that those people who eat more beans live longer. They're just really, really good for you. So did you have anything else you wanted to add about why to eat them?
No, I want to talk more about the lectins.
Okay, go ahead. Talk about lectins.
So the interesting thing about the lectins, and like we said, there is a doctor out there that's trying to make he's probably making a fortune off
He is making a fortune.
So the one thing, why did lectins become a thing to begin with? And so you have to, consider this, ricin. Now everybody's heard of ricin, like the ricin-laced envelopes that they send to politicians and all that stuff. It's actually a lectin.
Is it really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I just learned that today.
Very cool.
And so it's easy to make the correlation with a lot of these people that are trying to sell products to save you from lectins, to use that as an example. But lectins in themselves, whenever you process food, whenever you cook food, it just disappears.
They break down.
So it's never going to be an issue. And the only bean that's going to be a problem really is going to be a kidney bean. And the reason why, and you brought this up a few episodes way ago, that at one point they were taking kidney beans, and they were grinding them up.
There was a whole incident in Asia where somebody said that if you take kidney beans, grind them in a coffee grinder, and sprinkle them on their food, it's a good diet, like to help you lose weight.
Right.
And yes, because it makes you violently ill.
Right, vomit and everything else. Right.
So don't grind your kidney beans.
Right. So and the other thing to remember too is all plants have lectins in it. It was another thing I found.
That's true.
It's not just beans, and if that was a real problem, well. Again, there'd be a ward in a hospital that was the lectin ward. You don't see such a thing.
Well, and humans would never have lived because it just wouldn't be a thing.
And that's a good point. The thing to remember about plants as opposed to animal products is civilizations for thousands of years have survived on plants, not animal products. Animals were the rarity. Usually the wealthy got to eat some animals, but the population was eating plants.
Yeah, absolutely true. So let's talk a little bit about how we manage to get beans in our diet every day. And I would love to add more. I think for me that's kind of a goal. How do I eat more beans? Like Valerie mentioned a minute ago, we have the no tuna salad. It has beans in it. I use navy beans typically, but you can put any beans in it you want. And the other thing is that if you take that foundational recipe, if you don't want to make the mayonnaise that I put on it, because the mayonnaise is a little bit labor intensive, you can put the Asian salad dressing that I've also shared the recipe. You guys have it. It's in the members section. You can put the Asian dressing on it. It's easier to make, and that's really, really good too. So that has beans in it. We also always have hummus in the fridge. I make hummus probably about once a week. I've been making it with chickpeas, although I may try to switch that up and start using some other type of beans. So we have that. We always have that in the fridge. I cook beans in really big pots, my big pot, Dutch oven pot thing, and then I freeze them. So there's a bag of already cooked frozen beans in the freezer, so I can just break them up and use them if I want to, have a burrito or put them on a salad or do something like that. So anything, pretty much anything that you eat, you can add beans to. When I make a sweet potato lasagna, sometimes I'll throw beans in there. Lentils are another really good option. You can put lentils in stuff. And the no tuna salad also has peas in it. So and it has corn.
And peas are a complete protein.
They are, yeah. And so is quinoa, I think.
So is quinoa. So those are some vegetables out there that are complete proteins.
So you can do the quinoa salad that I've shared with you that has the Asian dressing on it. It has peas and corn in it. So basically any recipe that you make, you can add beans to pretty successfully. What's Chuck asking? Salad is my go-to meal after a workout. Gotta add beans. Yeah, definitely. Can I eat assorted cans in the pantry? Yeah, just
absolutely.
Pick a can, any can, and just throw the beans on there. I would recommend you rinse them because canned beans typically have salt on them.
Right.
Not that the salt's horrible for you.
If you don't have hypertension, if you don't have an issue with salt, then I wouldn't worry about it. But then the thing about beans in the can is they've all been cooked, so there's no lectins to worry about in any form of canned beans.
Right. So that's a really good thing. So you can definitely add them to pretty much anything, and that's kind of the way. And those of you who are members of our website, rnrjourney.com, know that the way that I share recipes is not the standard way, because I want to teach you more to think about food in a different way so that you could add some of this or add some of that. If you have this, try that. And beans are definitely one of those things that regardless of the recipe that you're making, you can probably throw some of them in there and they're going to be great because they don't have a ton of flavor on their own. So just like meat, when you season them, they take on the flavor of the seasonings, which is really good. So that's an easy way to get beans in your diet, is just literally start adding them to just everything. That's super simple. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I got to see what Chuck's saying. Actually, I do add chickpeas. Yep, chickpeas are beans.
That's a bean.
Yep, absolutely they are. So that's good.
Yeah.
They're not a dark colored bean, so you might want to try and add, a different kind.
Right, or change up to a darker bean for your dinner or something like that. But chickpeas are a great bean. I mean, they're very nutritious. So.
Yeah, and if you could chickpeas, or if you could add peas would be a great option. So that would be really good. And also, if you're looking for protein, obviously you can do nuts, and I talked in the newsletter I sent out this week was about nuts, so you can definitely add nuts to things as well. Now, there's one last thing about beans that I want to talk about, and I know we're at 17 minutes, but this is an important thing because a lot of people complain about the GI distress that beans cause, that they create gas and they cause bloating. So I wanted to touch on that really briefly for you guys. The first thing to know is if your gut bacteria is a healthy, plant-based, thriving community, you're not going to have those issues. They're going to be much less of an issue for you. If you are currently ingesting animal products, if you're eating the standard American diet, the gut bacteria that you have is not
suitable?
Not suitable. That's not really the right answer. Tuned into, it's not ideal for processing beans. Yeah, that's a good way. It's not optimized for processing beans. And unfortunately, the gut bacteria that's required to process meat is stronger than that's required to process plants and beans. And so if you're eating both, what will happen is the gut bacteria that processes meat is going to kind of crowd out the gut bacteria that is for processing plants, specifically beans. And so what happens is when you put beans through the system, your system has to work harder because it doesn't have the gut bacteria that it needs. So what I would encourage you to do is start eating less of the animal products because they're making your GI tract not as healthy as it could be for processing plants, and eat more of the plants. And that's going to help with the gas and the discomfort that comes from eating beans. Because if you're doing both, then your gut bacteria is kind of messy. But once you switch over to all beans, you don't have that issue. And the problem does go away. It gets definitely better. So did you have any thoughts about that?
No, just that if you started including more beans into your diet, over time your body will adjust. Everything I've seen has said that, a few weeks in, your gut bacteria will change and we'll be able to digest it better. It's just, you have to get through that period.
You do, and that's just the reality of it. The other thing, too, is that if you switch over to eating, mostly beans and greens and plants and grains and all of those good things, and we've said this to you before, and then you decide to have a cheat day and you go back to eating an animal product or a dairy or whatever, you may get some GI distress, and that's because your gut bacteria has switched to being the healthier, better to process plants, and you don't have the gut bacteria to process animal products anymore. Yeah. So that's one of the challenges. Is that all you've got for beans? We talked for them a lot today.
Yes, we did.
All right. So you guys know our website, rnrjourney.com. Make sure that you go over there, become a member. You can get exclusive access to all kinds of more content. Also, if you're getting value out of these, please do make sure you like and you share and you subscribe and you let other people know, because we're not doing this for our health, we're doing it for yours. And you can go to our webinar at howtofeedahuman.com, and that'll give you a lot of foundational information about kind of how to get started on this, what to eat, when to eat, why to eat, all that stuff. And it'll give you access to our master class, and that'll really give you all of the information you need to
on demand.
Be prepared to not only live this lifestyle, but talk about it with other people. Because when you start living this way, people start saying, why and what, and they want to argue with you. So you're welcome, Allison. Thanks for letting us know you enjoyed it.
The masterclass is on demand, and you can watch it as many times as you want, for as long as you want, for generations.
And it comes with a live Q&A.
And it comes with a monthly live Q&A,
which is next Tuesday. For those of you who are members of that, next Tuesday is our live Q&A. Make sure that you're got that on your calendar.
Correct.
I think that's what I've got for them.
That's all I have.
All right, let's go.
All right, so with that, we will say no food. Oh, wait, different topic. So with that, we will say eat real food,
mostly plants.
Have a great day, guys.
We'll see you tomorrow.